Welcome to Bench Reactions, an NBA podcast brought to you by a fedora with safari flaps in the back. My name is Patrick H., and I'm joined today by three guys who have never fought for anything in their entire lives, so they're fighting for this hat. Jason L., Zack B., and Dan L. What's up, dudes?
This hat, my punishment hat from coming last in fantasy football. We got to post this one. I told the guys we'd post it so they could see the video.
Done
All
and
right.
done. Consider it
Easy.
done.
Easy money.
I can clearly see that Dan has dice in his pocket.
Oh, I was going to say the dice in his pocket. I was going to
It's
say
illegal for you to ask.
It's illegal for you to ask me that.
The guy at the store said I'm the only one that he's ever seen pull it off.
Don't do the voice.
Did anyone get my Severance reference there? No last names. All I said was the first letter of your last name. Nobody picked up on that?
I didn't know what you were doing. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I didn't know
good.
what you were doing either. Yeah, like Mark S. I got you.
I'm light
I got
years
you.
ahead. What can I say?
Streets ahead.
Mark S. Heliar.
Bench Reactions podcast brought to you by Lumen.
By Lumen
Industries.
Industries.
I'm actually severed right now. My severance is between my home life and my podcast life. So this is my innie.
This is a pretty good. Wait, that makes sense. Are you the department head?
I am. Yeah. Of MDS. No, MDF. Sorry. Got that wrong. I forgot.
Do the dance that he does when he does the dance party. Yeah.
I'm going for dance.
It's Mr. Milkshake.
Is there a waffle party later? I heard something about waffles.
It gets a little iffy there. Well, it's good to be with you boys on a Wednesday night. We are going to go through our midseason awards on today's episode. We're also going to walk through our number 23 player on our top 25 players of the thousands list before we wrap up with Zack's Mudpie Moment of the week. All right, boys, let's dive right in. Midseason awards here. You know, I'm only slightly worried that we put Dan in charge of this segment this week. But Dan, I just want you to know we're all behind you, bud. I believe. I love you and I trust you. So
Don't
take it
call
away,
me bud.
Jason, you want to tell them the phone call that I had with you at about 6 o'clock?
Yeah, it was about 6:12 Dan time. I didn't tell Dan this at the time because I didn't even think to tell him, but I was in the middle of mopping up a bunch of water that spilled out of because I decided to take a bath for some reason.
Treat yourself?
Yeah, 2011.
Dude, did you
Decided
have some
to take a
nice
bath.
candles and a nice Nicholas Sparks book or something?
Sometimes you just need a little time to yourself, you know?
I get it.
You deserve it. So yeah, I was mopping and then I saw the missed call from Dan. I call him back and Dan just had to consult me on his tabulation method to make sure that it actually worked. But
Dan, don't you work with numbers in real life?
I sure do.
Right,
just
you are,
I appreciate that he wanted to get it right. You know? That's important.
Proud of
So
you,
good
Dan.
job, Dan.
So far.
Yeah,
This
here we go.
is off to a stellar start.
And,
All right,
and
Dan
I'll
Analytics,
stick
take
to
it
start.
away, my man.
Here we go. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is that we had some great votes. We're going to get into some stuff a little bit later. There were some things that we were very, very aligned on, some things that we were not aligned on whatsoever. We were not aligned on Sixth Man of the Year, and that I only got a handful of votes. And from those votes, there's a top three. So I'm going to do those ones first. In some order, the top three from the Sixth Man of the Year is Peyton Pritchard, DeAndre Hunter, and Amen Thompson. And that feels actually about right, where it's hard to, at least in this judge's perspective, to pull out the top one. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard plays on the team with the best record, but Amen Thompson is only slightly behind him. With that said, DeAndre Hunter has been a revelation off the bench this year. And so all those three guys look pretty good. You know, nothing too controversial there.
I hate to break it to you, Dan, but the Celtics don't have the best record in the NBA. They did at
No,
one
I-
point.
He meant of the three.
Yeah,
Among
of
the
the
players.
three. Of the
Okay.
three.
He's one of the
Come on,
coaches,
come on.
one of the
In the
players.
division. Come on, Pat. Like, I can appreciate that you would need to correct me on that, but
I'm
thank
sorry,
you,
I'm sorry,
Jason.
sorry. Actually,
I did know that the Celtics did not have the best record in the league.
Seamless
very glad.
pivot to a Kyle Mooney joke after making a mistake. That's why Patrick keeps the reputation that he has.
It's true.
Just just moved right out of
What's
it.
my reputation? What's that reputation?
Credibility, I
appreciate that, man. Street cred.
Talent.
Wow.
All right.
Beautiful eyes.
Keep going.
Go on. Okay, we're going to move on to most improved player this year. This is also one where it came together at the very end, so I don't have the top 5, but I do have the top 3. In third place, we have Norm Powell. Got a first place vote in there, but didn't quite make it out on the top. Second place, and this is, again, most improved, it's Cade Cunningham came in second. Which is interesting because he also got votes in other places, so it's interesting that he's getting second place votes for most improved player. And in first place, Pat, this makes your heart so happy that I'm about to say this. The Great Barrier Thief himself, Dyson Daniels.
Wow,
winning
my
out.
son.
Yes, Dyson. Yeah, so Pat, do a quick victory laugh about Dyson for us.
Well, the ironic part here is that I did not.
Don't do the
I don't think I had Dyson Daniels in my top 3 that I sent over. I had him in my top 3 for a different award that we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I mean, part of the reason why I didn't put him in my top 3 is I think what he's needed all along for his development and to kind of take that leap is just more minutes. And he wasn't going to get that in New Orleans. So seeing him get those minutes in Atlanta, make a big difference defensively on a team that, over the last 4 or 5 years has definitely not been known to be a defensive stalwart. I think anytime you're playing alongside Trae Young, it's a little difficult on that side of the court. So seeing just his numbers go up, really in all categories across the board has been really, really nice. I mean, I've liked him since he was drafted by New Orleans, and it's been nice to see him get to a team where he can really flourish. Wish I had another Australian joke, but I'm out.
No, that was beautiful. I knew that your stock had paid off. I mean, it's mid-season, right? But you have been on the Dyson Daniels train longer than anybody, and you have always believed in him. So I just wanted to give you that a little bit. Zach, did you have something about Dyson?
No, I am in total agreement that he should be number 1 because we all think this award is kind of ridiculous. It's very hard to determine what does it mean. Often it ends up going to a guy who is already good and just it's their 3rd year in their league. It's their 4th year in the league. They take a normal leap and they get the award. So I love that it's going to Dyson. I think that's what the award is for. It's for a guy who kind of changes the way he plays, the role he plays. There weren't honestly that many guys who really fit the category this year. Even guys who are deserving of the award, like Tyler Hero or Norm Powell, they elevated their game a little bit, but that's kind of who they've been. Dyson Daniels has become a new player in this new role, and that's what it's for. So good for him. Also proud of you using Great Barrier Thief. I know it's just a nickname, but it's kind of close to pun territory. So you're really growing.
It's one of the best nicknames in the NBA, in my opinion.
Man, see, this is surrounding. I feel like it's exposure therapy for me. Just get worn down, which is exactly how I like to wear people down with my jokes. So I'm getting a taste of my own medicine here.
You really do. You have patented the Family Guy. Tell the joke 8 times, and it's really funny the 8th time.
You just have to believe. You have to in the middle. In the middle, when it's not funny, you have
rough.
to believe. That rhymed.
You open up that mind, you understand. Yeah, the amount of time we've seen SMH my head is just through the roof. So maybe it'll be funny the 27th time that you send it.
It'll work. Give it time, always works. All right, let's move on to Rookie of the Year. A little bit more contested than I thought it was going to be. Honestly,
that's because this rookie class sucks.
So there's
actually really hard. Really freaking hard.
There was actually a clear winner. There was a clear winner. There's a clear second place, and then it gets muddy from there. I'm going to start at the top. So the winner, the clear winner, Stephon Castle. He definitely got the most votes. Alex Sarr was a little bit behind, but he's the one in second. And then, right, so those two, it was sort of the clear cut. And then it was pretty muddy from there. The actual order was Zack Edey, Jalen Wells, and I'm going to murder this guy's name. I'm so sorry. Is it Ivis Missy? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Eve.
Just Eve. Okay. Eve Missy. Okay. And then missing the cut is Bub Carrington and Jared McCain. But realistically, Edey, Jalen Wells, Eve Missy, Bub Carrington, Jared McCain were all pretty close together. But interesting that Stephon Castle was the one to take it away. Zach, you got any thoughts on Castle in this rookie class?
Well, what Pat said holds true for sure. If you look at Castle's numbers and everything, it doesn't look very good. It's not impressive. But we're looking at this with the improvement he's had over the last like month and a half, probably 6 or 7 weeks, and the correlated improvement in the way the Spurs have played. He's still a rookie. He looks like a rookie. So he has games where he scores like 5 points with 1 assist and he plays 14 minutes. And then he has other games, like just a couple nights ago, he scored 26, and he looks like a legitimate, potential all-star caliber guy, all-star talent next to Wemby. And his defense has been super helpful over there as well. So I think he's deserving. And my number one was Alex Sarr, but it's kind of a similar story. Like, he's coming on now and he's starting to play a lot better. But when you look at those numbers, you're like, I don't really want to vote for this guy either.
Sub 40% on field goals. I was like, what? This
Yeah.
dude's 7 feet tall.
But he's finally gotten his 3-point percentage up over 30%. So here we go.
So
And he's the best defensive player in the class, I think.
We clearly
Maybe
had at least 3 different number ones among us, because my number one, which was honestly a personal mea culpa for kind of betting against him coming into the league, was Zach Edey. I think he's been
Yeah, that was an outlier.
really good and really productive for a team that matters. And he's missed some games and stuff, but yeah, that's interesting.
It's too bad Jared McCain got hurt, man, because he was running away with this.
Totally.
Yeah, I think if Jared McCain was healthy, he would have won this by, frankly, a landslide, especially for a Sixers team that really, really needs him and doesn't have anything else going on at all this season.
I probably should have put him number one. This is the midseason award, and up until now, he has been the best rookie. I put him like third, I think.
Let's do a revote. It's Jared McCain.
He probably deserves.
I wanna
As a
rescind my
midseason
vote.
award, it should be Jared McCain.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. And then, right, there were differences like in the voting, but I think they're pretty marginal differences for sure for this draft class.
As for the Edey pick, Jay, I actually think Jalen Wells has been the better Grizzly. He's been really good, and it's probably just a factor, at least, is that he's played more games than Edey, but he's been really good, and I actually considered him for number one with some of the other guys.
Yeah, I had him third. I had 2 Grizzlies in my top 3. But the one guy who, if I could bet on a guy sneaking his way into our top 3 by the end of the season, is Kel'el Ware.
Oh, dude. Yes.
He is
Dude, he's coming on
Yeah.
strong.
Big
Did you
time.
guys see the
I wanted
quote
to put him in, but
from Wob about him, or the tweet about him?
Oh,
that,
no,
that
what
it
did
was
he say?
like I know who it looks like, but I don't want to
he's
say
like,
it.
I'm not going to
basically.
say it. I'm not going to jinx it yet. The way he moves reminds me of certain somebody. I was going through the comments. I'm like, who could it be? And then I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I guess you can kind of see it.
As
Squint
far
your eyes.
as actual impact, and when you look at like numbers, at least advanced stat numbers, Ware is the best by far. Like, he's actually like a productive rookie, whereas all the other rookies, by like even efficiency rating, are not above 15%.
I wish FanDuel let you bet futures on the all rookie teams in the NBA. That would be ridiculous.
Dude, I'm
I would
shocked
kill
that they
it.
don't. I'm shocked that they don't.
You can bet on rookie of the year, but not all rookie team.
Man.
Dude,
Weird.
Kel'el Ware next to Bam Adebayo is one of the scariest potential front courts of the future. I mean, Ware's shooting like 39% from 3, over 55% from the field, and he can protect the rim from the weak side. Oh my gosh, that's
he might
terrifying.
be playing better than Bam right now, you know?
He actually might be. Like, he's
I'm
certainly
kidding. I love Bam, but
shooting
this
better.
season's been...
Well,
Woof.
he's like Bam has never been a great shooter either, right? Like a little bit on low volume, but if Kel'el Ware can keep it up, like, okay.
It looks good. His form is really good.
I'm really interested to know who Wob is talking about. Who do you guys think?
Wemby. He's talking about Wemby.
Wemby, really?
And you can kind of, I mean, it's not like it's definitely, obviously not an apples to apples comparison, but the way he moves, you can kind of see some,
When one guy's
Some
7'4",
similarities.
7'5", it's kind of hard to make the comp.
yeah, his limbs are like ridiculously long.
All right. Okay, let's go on to Coach of the Year. So, just missing the cut for this one who got some votes but didn't get on the list, Tyronn Lue of the Los Angeles Clippers. Number 5, JV Bickerstaff. Number 4, Mark Daignault. Number 3, Ime Udoka. Number 2, our precious Taylor Jenkins. And number 1, in no surprise, Kenny freaking Atkinson.
Jay's making a face. Come on, man. Kenny Atkinson is the coach of the year.
Zach, did you?
Collusion. Come on.
There's a difference between who deserves Coach of the Year and who is the best coach in the league.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Just
just
wilding out here with this best coach in the league stuff, man.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Better than Spoelstra? Come on.
I did say last week that it's Spoelstra and Jenkins. They're like in their own category for me. Yeah, Spoelstra's still number one for me, but Jenkins he's in that group, man.
And he's doing it again this year against all the injuries and all these just gems he's unearthing from the center of the earth.
He's gonna finish. He's gonna finish top 3 for sure. I think.
He's just got to win one of these days. One of these days he has to win one.
I know you guys in prepping for this episode looked at the stats of John Morant. Ja's not really playing like a superstar. And Desmond Bane hasn't looked like world beating. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been very good defensively, but not an all-star. Like, how is Jenkins doing this? He can't keep getting away with it. Actually, he can.
Oh, he should. Can and he will.
He deserves
it. Their depth, man. I think it's a great combo of his ridiculous ability to coach, and then that front office just unearths these guys out of nowhere that become legit rotation guys.
And Gigi's back, baby. I love seeing Gigi back.
Mr. Jackson. That's funny. This turned into a conversation about Taylor Jenkins and nothing about Mr. Atkinson himself.
I knew when I was doing it that Kenny had a strong case, and I wanted to give it to him because y'all know I love Kenny Atkinson too. It's just, it's sort of like how Jack Nicholson, wins his Oscar all these years later, how Leo wins it all these years later. You don't win it the first time you deserve it. You got to kind of work up to it.
If we're going to do that, we got to get Spoelstra his first coach of the year. Sure. The fact that he doesn't have one, I know I talk about this all the time, is criminal.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, at what point would Spo have to do what would he have to do to win Coach of the Year at this point?
I think Pat Riley needs to give him a good roster. Here's an idea.
Also,
a good regular season roster.
Yes.
Yeah. To Zach's point, and this is actually why I voted for Kenny. The difference between the best coach and Coach of the Year. And we all know this, but just stating the obvious here for Kenny Atkinson, he took the exact same roster from last year that was a decent team, right? Record wise, I think they were high 40s, maybe 50, 51 wins last year. And he's got them cranking at a high 60 win, team pace. So that sort of good to great bump, I think deserves a lot of credit. And Taylor Jenkins obviously doing everything great, but that team is pacing to be about 55 wins. And that's about what they've been pacing before. I don't think that Grizzlies team has cracked the 60 wins yet. And so I think that's a pretty good argument for Kenny Atkinson.
All right, let's go defensive. Is defensive player of the year next?
Yep, defensive player of the year. All right, just missing the cut for defensive player of the year voting. Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley. Not quite enough to get on there. All right, and then this one, so there were two players who had the exact same score, and they're both in 5th place, and they're kind of the same player. I kept them both on there because it would be pretty arbitrary to pick one over the other. And
because this is made up anyway. So
yeah,
it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the tied for 5th is Jared Allen and Walker Kessler. Jared Allen can probably take it because his team is just streets ahead of the Jazz at this point.
Sorry, did you say Walker Kessler?
Kessler.
I'm going the other way on your decision. You should have arbitrarily decided Jared Allen.
Wait, who voted for Walker Kessler?
It wasn't me. I have to go back and look. I just have the totals.
His numbers
in front
are
of me.
ridiculous, guys.
Oh yeah,
his numbers are ridiculous defensively.
They are. The Jazz are also the worst team in the West.
Okay, but it's not his fault.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's a deserving all defensive guy for sure.
Yeah.
Why does Danny Ainge keep talking about trading him? We'll never know.
Never know. Okay, anyway, number 4, J-Dub from OKC.
That's what I'm talking about.
According to him, he should be higher.
We should have one for bigs and one for
non-bigs. They got close. So after J-Dub, number 3, Anthony Davis, obviously. Number 2, getting by the way, it wasn't close for the first one. I'm burying the lead here. Number 2 is Dyson Daniels, and obviously defensive player of the year is Victor Wembanyama. There's no competition. There were a few unanimous votes for this, and I'll get into the other unanimous ones later. This one was absolutely unanimous. And I don't know if there's anything to say that hasn't already been said about Wemby at this point.
He's not of this world. Truly.
Yep.
Watching guys go into the paint and just, rip, never mind. at just the sight of him is I was watching, this is super random, but I was watching some of the Grizzlies Spurs game that was on ESPN last Friday night. There was a point in time where Luke Kennard tried to drive on Wemby, and it literally looked like when I'm playing basketball with Roe on like a Little Tykes hoop, and he thinks he got past me, and I just slapped the ball away at the last minute. Like it was crazy. It was like he didn't even try. Just seriously, come on.
Like that video of you as an 18-year-old blocking that kid at Dick's or whatever.
I forgot about that. Was that kid's parent nearby? I feel like
I don't know.
The stuff we did when we were 18.
Just blocking.
I mean, I swatted the crap out of him though.
Wait, I don't think I've seen this video. How old was the kid?
Like
probably
12?
like 10.
Oh my gosh.
He was like dribbling, and I think I was kind of like hiding behind one of the mannequins, and
you were just kind of like walking slowly by him. And you actually like went for it once, and he thought he saw something, but you kind of like pretended, and then he turned around and swatted.
That kid remembers you. He's gonna be like, you'll never believe me.
Here's the crazy thing: that kid was Walker Kessler. Comes full circle, you know?
Pat, I wish that were true, but if you were 18, he was 12. I don't know how to tell you this, but Walker Kessler is 6 years younger than you.
Wait, I'm not 26?
What are you talking about? Oh, man. Okay, let's go on now to... So we have All-NBA and MVP. MVP is actually like... It's pretty straightforward, so I'm gonna go MVP right here. So getting votes didn't make the cut was actually Wemby. So he got some votes, didn't quite make it on there. Fifth, Anthony Davis. Fourth, Jason Tatum. And then the top three here were everybody voted this the exact same way, and that was Giannis third, Jokic second, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander first.
Let's go!
Cool. Yeah, you know what? Y'all just cook about Shai for a second. Y'all just cook about Shai for a second.
I just want everyone to know that if the real votes go the way that we vote, I will make money because I bet SGA MVP, Wembanyama DPOY before the season.
A little parlay action or what?
Yeah, we're cooking right now.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't know if we're the right focus group for you, Jason. Are we voting the rest of the way that the NBA media is?
Probably not. I told Zach, before Zach jumped on, I was talking to Jay and Dan about a stat I saw today, which was that the Thunder are the second best offense in the league when Shai is on the court. They are the worst offense in the league when Shai is not on the court. Worse than the Washington Wizards, worse than the Jazz, worse than all the other crappy teams in the league. I mean, what his ascension since being traded to the Thunder, I don't think any of us would have ever dreamed of at any point in time. It's just been amazing to watch, man. And he's taken another leap this season. He's like that guy, solidified himself in that spot. And obviously the Thunder are cooking. I did just check, and they're only up by 3 against the Jazz with 5 minutes left to go. So we'll see how that game ends. But they're having a magical season so far, other than the injuries, of course.
I think the real question is, will SGA be unanimous come the end of the year? I think they were talking about that on the Mismatch or one of those podcasts. And I think it's very possible, simply because Jokic already has 3 and people want to vote for someone different. And if they can find a reason to vote for Shai, they will. Because I think we can all admit freely, Jokic is the best player in the game. He's probably statistically having the better year. He's having one of the best seasons of all time.
Yeah, it's absurd.
For a 3-time MVP, he's playing better than he ever has. And yet, when we're voting for MVP, we're talking about something sort of ephemeral in what does value really mean? And the Thunder are winning. They're winning. And that matters a lot. The fact that they're going to be probably the best team in the league, I would bet. We'll see if the Cavaliers can hold on ahead of them. Definitely the best team in the West. And he's having an unbelievable year statistically that at least compares to Jokic, if not being better, plus all these other stats that you're pointing out. Without him, the Thunder are not, they're maybe a play-in team. I don't even know. With him, they're the best team in basketball. That's better than what Jokic is doing right now.
I have a question for you guys. This thought just came to me. What if the Thunder traded for Draymond Green?
Pat, that's unconscionable.
I think I would love him.
What the
You loved Russell Westbrook, so
I sure did.
Pat, did you like go to the crossroads and make a deal with the devil for
I'm not telling you.
Draymond,
I don't have to tell you.
Draymond? Do you have your soul? Do you
Him
still
next to
have
Chet?
it?
Come on now.
we have definitely had this conversation multiple times over the last 2 years.
It just seems more reasonable now.
Next to Chet, it's a fantastic fit, honestly. Now that they have Hartenstein, it might not be as necessary. His leadership would be great as long as he doesn't like totally ruin things. You know, he has that experience. He's a championship. Yeah, exactly. If he'd be willing to come off the bench and then like play a lot of minutes with Chet when necessary, or when Chet or Hartenstein needs to take a night off, or to just be like the main big off the bench instead of Jalen Williams, I don't know. I might not hate it.
Can you imagine winning a championship and Draymond being like a major reason for that for the first time in franchise history?
I'm dying.
That would be such a good moment for you to retcon. You're like, I've always loved him. I've always loved this passion on the court. Leadership.
There are no receipts anywhere.
I deleted all my texts.
I don't have a podcast.
I don't think I could ever like him. I don't think, even if he came, I'd just be like, all right, thanks, dude. And then
thanks for your services. Bye.
I don't think I could ever bring myself.
Imagine Draymond in the group post-game interviews. Like,
it would barking.
Like, I feel like he'd be a great fit for that, and also he would insert kind of an annoying vibe to it also.
Are the Warriors
he'd like take it a little too far, where the other guys would be like, whoa, like, what just happened? I just really don't want him to go to the Mavericks. I know I threw that out in the text thread today. That scares me. Anyway, Dan, sorry to throw off your groove.
How dare you? Okay, let's go. Now all we have left is all NBA, and we'll just go, we'll kind of break after each team. And I'm going to start at the top because that's actually where the least amount of controversy is. Essentially, just in the same way that Shea, Jokic, and Giannis were 1, 2, and 3, like unanimously between us for MVP. Shea, Jokic, Giannis were all unanimous between us for first team All NBA. Easy money. And then Jason Tatum is also on there, not quite unanimous. Also not quite unanimous, but is on there for all first team All NBA. Drum roll, please. That is going to be Victor Wembanyama.
First team, wow.
First team, he made it. He just started, or he beat out the other top 2 vote getters besides Victor. So Victor was the 5th vote getter, and then the next 2 were. So now or I guess actually let's stop there for a second. Any comments on that first team All NBA? And not really any surprise there. Though a lot of forwards and centers, or I guess Tatum is the only forward, and then Giannis is a forward. So 2 forwards, 2 centers, and a guard on that first team, which is a little bit different than I feel like what we've been used to.
I'm kind of shocked that Wemby was 5th, or didn't make the top 5 in MVP, but got first team All NBA. Shows that the voting works a little bit differently. Who didn't have?
I did not have Wemby in my top.
Who had Wemby over Davis in the MVP voting?
That's a good question.
MVP voting.
I had them both in top 5 in both. I had them both top 5 MVP, both all first team All NBA, because it's positionless. So,
right. Yeah.
For me, top 5 MVP should just be first team.
Right.
Yeah, I had.
That's exactly what mine was. Yeah.
In my first team, because I don't know, man. There's something about the positionless thing that is still really, really hard for me. So, and Brunson's having a great year, man, for a Knicks team that's second best team, or I guess third right now, record wise in the East. But they're coming on.
Yeah. Go for Zack.
I know this is kind of a question for another day, but I've been wanting to bring it up for a while. Is Wemby already a top 10, top 5 player in the league?
I mean, far and away defensive player of the year, averaging basically 25 points a game, great shooting.
11 rebounds, 4 blocks.
Yeah, probably.
Focal point of an offense.
Yeah.
And the Spurs have been competitive when outside of him they have no business being. Yeah, I'm there. I'm pretty much there already.
Crazy. It's crazy. I had a hard time putting him on first team. I was debating like him and Tatum and Davis, and I was like, I don't really know how to do this. Their numbers are all similar. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the guys who have been there before. So maybe a little bias there. Yeah.
That flows right into our second team. So Anthony Davis and Jalen Brunson, who we just talked about. And then rounding it out is going to be Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, got the same amount of points. And then actually significantly above everybody else who made on the third team, for second team All-NBA, Darius Garland.
Love it.
Whoa, Garland got
Interesting.
second team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting that he got there. There's no Donovan Mitchell. There was a little bit. Oh, actually, I'll get to that. There's another Kessler who can all figure out, but Donovan Mitchell did not get any votes for All NBA. Donovan Mitchell didn't show up anywhere on here, but Darius Garland, second team All NBA.
When I was initially going through this, I had Donovan Mitchell on one of the teams. It's like just before looking at any stats or anything, I was like, oh, the Cavs are great. Donovan Mitchell's got to be on here. And then I compared him with Darius, and I was like, oh, Darius is having a much better season. And so he basically replaced Donovan on my third team. But he got on second team. Did anyone have him on second team, or did he just get all the third team votes?
I had him on my second team.
Nice.
Yeah, he had him on the second.
I think All NBA is also a time to just like shout out your favorite guys, and he's one of my favorite dudes. I love watching him. I love the way he carries himself on the court. He's so smooth, man. Like his jumper, the way he creates separation, being the size he is. He's not a big dude at all. Like I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", tops. Really pretty slight of frame. Like he doesn't look that much bigger than like Rob Dillingham on my screen when I'm watching him, which we think of Dillingham as like a pretty tiny guy. And he's on the best team in the league. So I wanted to give him some shine, especially after like a rough season last season. I think he deserves it.
Among the guys that Dan listed off that actually made second team, y'all, did anybody else have a moment today where you were like, holy crap, Karl Anthony Towns is having an incredible season?
Yeah.
He was my closest cut, my first cut from first team and the MVP top 5.
I was going to say, I think he has a case to be top 5 MVP for sure.
He on like the NBA's ladder, Kia ladder or whatever they call it. I think he is number 5. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he's right up. I mean, that feels right. The Knicks are doing great. Obviously, him and Brunson. This is working out again. The big caveat is like, Tibbs, don't destroy their knees.
Also, can Karl Anthony Towns defend a rim when it matters in the playoffs? But no. I couldn't put him consciously above Jalen Brunson in like the success of that team, even though his numbers are better. Like he statistically looks a little bit better. Like Jalen is the cog that runs the Knicks.
What's funny is that you're right, and Cat. Sorry to jump in there for a second. The important part is that their offense still scores really well with Cat on the floor and no Brunson. So again, I think that talking about him being 5th in MVP voting, like second team All NBA, that feels right.
I think he's in like a more comfortable spot offensively on this team. Like you see him attacking the rim in ways that he really didn't last season. And honestly, I mean, I don't know how much of that has to do with the fact that he's kind of the lone big most of the time in their lineups, which I don't think can hold up defensively. You know, having Rudy in the paint on those Timberwolves teams, he settled for threes, man. Like that's just what he did. He's good at it, but
2 years ago we had a unanimous take that the Rudy Gobert trade was terrible. Last year we were deceived a little bit. We were like, no, this is whatever. It was terrible. That's what has ruined the Timberwolves now, I think.
The fact that they traded Cat and doubled down on Rudy by giving him an extension is just like, not great.
It's absurd.
Play Naz Reid and Karl Anthony Towns next to each other right now. How much better would the Timberwolves be?
He is doing it a little bit more, I will say. Like he's in closing lineups. He's had Julius sitting a lot of the time in crunch time.
He should have Naz Reid instead of Julius, but I'm saying have Cat still there with Naz Reid.
Yeah, trade Rudy. I interrupt this message to tell you that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has 52 points against the Jazz tonight, and that's a career high for him. So and they're going to win.
That feels about right.
Let's go.
That feels right.
They needed all those 52 points to beat the freaking Jazz, but here we are.
In the words of a professor looking at a good burger, give me that.
Give me that.
I should have got that.
Give me that.
Give me that.
All right.
Joking.
Let me take a video saying you're going to kill the president.
I'm joking.
Oh my gosh. All right. Here is who didn't make it for third team. So this is we got a ton of votes. There are only a few left for third team All NBA. So here's who didn't make it first. Jared Allen did not make it. Trae Young.
Come on.
You monsters.
Jarrett, none?
Jarrett, nothing. Trae Young, out. Kyrie, out.
Well, okay, yeah, no Trae. Yeah. That makes sense.
Evan Mobley did not make it. Jalen Williams, out.
No. I guarantee the Evan Mobley and Jared Allen cancel each other out.
Yeah.
You had to choose between one of them. Who
It
are you
was
putting
so
as the
hard,
second
dude.
guy?
It was
Yeah.
so
Right.
freaking
I
hard.
get it. Like Mobley, it's going to be the same thing for All-Stars. They're probably only going to have 2 All-Stars, and it's either going to have to be Donovan or Darius and Jarrett or
Dude,
Evan.
just put all 4 of them in. Like, the East
Yeah.
is not good.
Y'all, maybe I'm crazy, but I was like looking at all the Cavs players, and I was like, I gotta put at least one on All NBA. And I was like, Jared Allen. I did not vote for Darius Garland.
Oh, you didn't vote for Darius?
Yeah.
For Donovan
on brand
Mitchell.
for
Did
you,
not
dude.
vote
It's
for
on brand for
Mobley.
you.
Jared Allen.
I had both Darius and Jarrett on my third team.
I had Darius
Yeah.
and Mobley.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up, dude. Like, I love Jared Allen.
My
Oh,
third
he's-
team basically became like, I want someone who I think deserves it, who's somewhat new. Like, you could have put LeBron and KD in here. They're having fine seasons, but I went totally different this year.
Sure.
Did anyone have Kyrie? I had Kyrie on my third team.
Yeah.
You bet I did,
My
buddy.
shirt brother.
Kyrie got it.
Promise
Notably
me you'll never
absent.
do another rule.
Notably absent from any All NBA vote is LeBron James. Did not receive any votes. All right,
Anthony
let's
Davis
get
is the
into
best guy on the team.
So what? Yeah. So what is
Yeah.
the third team? I want to see.
third team. So the highest vote getter on the third team, Kevin Durant, and then the next 3 all got the same amount of votes: Alperen Şengün, Steph Curry, Cade Cunningham, and then rounding it out, Zach, you're gonna be so happy, Domantas Sabonis.
Was Anthony Davis not on one of the All NBA teams? Did I miss that?
Yeah,
He
you
was
missed it
second
'cause
team.
He was
Oh,
definitely.
second. Okay.
Yeah. He was second team.
It's a boner, huh?
I just want I want my growth to be recognized. I voted for Sabonis. He's having a good season.
Dude,
Nice.
Sabonis is having an unbelievable season. Just like the hour before we started this, I was very strongly considering moving him up to second team, especially with the 9-1 run that the Kings have been on. He's been unbelievable. I could not believe that stat I sent you guys yesterday, that he leads the league in 3-point shooting.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's insanity.
Crazy. If that guy could just play like average defense, he'd be friggin' Jokic, you know?
The thing about him, I don't think he's never going to be good defensively, but he at least puts effort in on that side of the floor. Like, he's a great defensive rebounder. You know, he at least tries to get position
he does
when
his
he's guarding
best.
guys,
Yeah.
but he's just not. I don't think he has a lateral.
He
quickness
really
to-
isn't like a terrible defender. He's just not. He's not a true rim protector. And
No, he
that
can't
hurts.
anchor your defense. Yeah, that's
You're
rough.
right.
And turns out that that's a bit of a problem.
It's the same thing with
surprises me a little
Şengün.
bit.
I actually put Şengün on my second team.
Wow.
I was comparing him and Sabonis. They were like fighting for that second team spot. And I ended up giving it to Şengün simply because the Rockets have been so good and he's the best player on the Rockets. So that, like, their stats were close enough that weighted in favor of Şengün for me.
I keep waiting for the Rockets to like have a slide at some point, and it's just not happening. It's crazy. I mean, they lost to the Pistons the other night. Shout out Cade. He had a great game. But they're just a good team.
So we didn't talk about this in the Coach of the Year thing, but this is the year where I feel like it's coaches that are making some of these teams so good. Like, the
That's
Grizzlies
a
have
great
really
point.
good players, but based on like how their stars are performing, that's Taylor Jenkins making that team number 4 net rating, top 5 in offense and defensive rating. Tyronn Lue, why are the Clippers decent? Even decent. Like, Harden's not playing very well. Norm Powell's their best player, and he probably deserves all-star consideration. It's going to be tough in the West, but he's actually been really good. Like, Amir
They're all
Coffey's
weirdly
like,
bought in defensively. It's very weird to watch.
yeah, that's Tyronn Lue. And then, of course, Ime Udoka with the Rockets. Like, that team, the sum is greater than its parts. Does that make sense? Did I say that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you
I
got
think
it.
so.
So, did no one else vote for Trae Young?
He was on my honorable mentions. I had a hard time.
Absolutely
leaving him
not.
off, I'll be honest, which is real
Look,
growth for me.
They're in the mix, man. They're in the mix.
He's going to make the All-Star team. I mean, that's how I thought of it too, was like, okay, top 15 to me, well, best guys this season. I think it would be okay putting him in. I was held up with him is his shooting splits are just not good, man. He is not efficient.
It's not a good scoring season.
He's
But
no.
well, yeah. He's
He
never been a
distributes.
great shooter.
the Hawks, their heads have not fallen off yet. We're
Petey?
still in the mix, baby.
Ah!
I haven't done that in like 2 years. I'm feeling
Pretty
this
Bird
Hawks team.
Hawks.
Pretty bird.
They've graduated.
They
Yeah.
did lose
Back
to the
to-
Pistons tonight, so
Detroit
Ain't no shame in that. No shame in that. Cade Cunningham.
Detroit, dude, 23-21.
Oh, NBA. Let's go.
I mean,
I
freaking
feel
go.
like if you're going to
Speaking-
vote for Trae Young, you have to vote for James Harden, and I was not going to do that. So they're like the same player at this stage.
just crazy.
Let the record show, Cade, I never gave up on you. I
It's
never
true.
gave up. I don't think any of us gave up.
Cade was easily going to be on one of my teams. It was just a decision of where to put him.
I love it. Dan, excellent work. You came through, and that is not surprise in my voice. That is total. I trusted you the whole way. I knew I knew
believed
this
in
was
you.
going to happen. You know,
Definitely.
hopefully
definitely.
Sarah's
Yeah.
listening to you, and that gave you like the strength and the courage you needed to.
I mean,
a little
she
bit.
is making pizza right now, so that's definitely a big
Okay.
motivation.
Yeah. Well,
She's
we'll try
she's
to.
kind of a pizza snob. Like they grew up making pizza, and she's just like, oh no, I don't do like Domino's.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's not delivery. It's DeSera pizza.
Nah, that's
Come
not
on.
Even, that's not even.
Come on.
close.
That's
Like,
good.
Trae Young belief.
It's not even a pun. It's just a reference.
Happiness. He doesn't like laughter. He doesn't like smiling. There's nothing we can do about it.
I hate all the orphans in the whole world.
I hate them. All right, we're going to number 23 on our top 25 players of the 2000s list, and here to present the award to number 23 is our very own Zachary Burnham. Zach, take it away.
I appreciate Jason handing me this one. This player is near and dear to my heart. Number 23 is none other than Sonic's legend. And yes, he will be a Sonic in my mind forever. Mr. Ray Allen.
Oh, I
Second-
knew it was gonna be
Let's
Ray
go.
Allen.
Second greatest shooter of all time. Best shooter not named Steph Curry. From 2002 to 2010-ish, he was probably my favorite player. Sometimes, T-Mac and KG got in there. He and KG going to Boston in 2008 is probably, or 2007, 2008, is probably the only reason I have any modicum of affiliation to the Boston Celtics. You can blame them. And he's very close, if not above, Peyton and Kemp as my favorite Sonic of all time. I love this guy. There were years there where I would argue he was the best player in the league. He was better than Kobe. He was better than T-Mac. I would be wrong, but I would have argued it hard. Especially I think it was 2006 where he averaged 26 and a half, which in those days, that was a lot. But most importantly, and the reason he's probably on this list, is that this guy knew how to win. He elevated every team he was on. And he sort of created the blueprint for how to transition from being a star to a role player in a seamless way when he went to the Heat. He was a crucial member, a crucial role player for those Heat teams, especially the team that won the championship. And he has obviously the iconic shot.
He kind of saved LeBron's career.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
even me being dramatic. That shot, holy guys, that's we've talked about some of Dame's buzzer beaters. That Ray Allen shot is forever imprinted in my mind. Mike Breen's bang, double bang, I think, right? Bang, bang. The best.
It was-
3-pointer, bang!
I hated him for going to the Heat, but I'll still always love him. And to sort of solidify the point on that, he knew how to win. He has, for his career, 145 win shares, which means you have to be on winning teams to build that sort of stat. For context, that's first all time and 11th among the 21st century players. So the guy just won 2 chips. He was only an All-NBA guy 2 times, which is a joke. That's a serious joke. He wasn't on an All-NBA team except one time on those Sonics teams. Should have been first team every year. Nonsense. 10-time All-Star. So yeah, number 23, Ray Allen. Sonic great. Not Celtic great, not a Heat great, Sonic great.
You
Nice
forgot
job,
the
dude.
Bucks. You forgot the Bucks too.
Yeah, I was
Come
gonna
on.
say Bucks.
Bucks? Yeah.
He
Milwaukee
can actually be a
erasure.
Bucks great. I'm fine with that. That's fine.
You know what's crazy is people that watched Ray Allen kind of in his later years, I don't think realize how freaking athletic he was early on in his career. Go back and just look up clips of him dunking on dudes' heads. And I mean, he was awesome off the dribble too. I know he became obviously a specialized guy toward the end of his career, but just so fun to watch.
I feel like he has to be in Dan's top 5 favorite players just because Dan is the true shooting guard guy. I want a real shooting guard. Be a real shooting guard. And that's Ray Allen. He is the true shooting guard.
Yeah, he's the prototype. Like Zach and I would talk about, would you rather have Klay Thompson's jump shot or Ray Allen's jump shot? And the way that we landed on it was Klay Thompson's jump shot was built in a lab, but Ray Allen's jump shot was made by God. Like it was so
It is
good.
so smooth.
It
It's
is
so smooth.
beautiful, and absolutely the quintessential shooting guard, right? Like I don't know if you can get more shooting, especially like off ball. That's the big thing, right? And as Zach talked about so like eloquently, right? Like he was sort of on ball, off ball on those Bucks teams. Sonic's very much like on ball, a scorer, and then he moved into that like just completely off ball. But there's not that many people who inspire the type of fear that he did running off a pin down than Ray Allen. It was gorgeous.
I'm not sure I ever saw him hit rim on a shot. Like he swished everything he ever took.
It was either swish or it was that back rim swish, which I might like even more than a regular swish.
Right. It just nicks the back of the rim.
Back rim and
yep,
that's beautiful.
and
Those only 2 All NBAs. That's called being a shooting guard and being drafted the same year as Kobe Bryant. Unfortunately, that's literally what it is.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
No, I'm just saying. Like,
no, for sure.
Not even a diss. What is a diss is that I did not vote for him for the top 25.
Ouch.
Everyone else
Just
did.
because he was on the
Yeah,
Celtics.
I definitely did.
Everyone else did. Zach put him 24th. Dan put him 24th. Patrick put him 19th. So
Thanks,
you
Pat.
know.
Appreciate
I
that.
got you.
Making sure you got on the list.
A betrayal
do
of
it.
Southern California of the highest order, Patrick.
But you were
Why?
true to your heart. True to your heart,
No.
Pat.
Because he was on the Celtics for like 3 years.
The real reason he didn't get in on those All NBA teams is one, people didn't pay attention to the Sonics. They just weren't good enough, even when they did make the playoffs a couple of those years. But also, that was the time of guards, man. There were some guards, even guards who aren't going to be on this list we're not going to talk about, who were fantastic some of those years. You had Kidd and Nash and T-Mac and Kobe and D-Wade. And then, but
Like
you also
Bibby.
had guys like, yeah, like who got on one of those years? Michael Redd, you said? Rip Hamilton probably got on one of those years. You know, you just had these guys who had great years and were great. It was a time of guards in the 2000s, especially shooting guards.
All right. Well, we just came off a high. Zach, bring us down with a low Mudpie moment of the week. What you got?
So I wanted to do something about the most recent Embiid news, but that's like beating a dead horse at this point. We've given Embiid and the Sixers enough. So I'm going to turn back to another well. This well's a little bit further south. Of course, going to talk about Mr. Jimmy Butler because of the news that came out that the Heat plan to suspend him again, this time for 2 games because he missed the team's plane, missed their flight. Last time I think I gave the Mudpie a little bit to Jimmy, but a little bit to the Heat and Pat Riley in the front office. This time it goes all to Jimmy. Look, the trade request has been made. It's been reiterated. The games have been played. The rumor mill has been manipulated like crazy. I get that he really wants to be out of there, and I understand he wants to go somewhere where he can win. I don't understand why he thinks the Suns is that place, but that's beside the point. But now his antics are becoming childish. Like, it's not just the front office he's hurting. Like, these are guys and his teammates that he's gone to war with. They've gone deep in the playoffs. They've been to finals. He has a responsibility to them as a leader, as the best player on that team. And honestly, if you want to get traded, up your value by playing well, man. Like, once you've made your statements, once you've shown, I want to get out of here, go and play. Don't leave those guys hanging. Don't abandon them. So a mud pie to Jimmy Butler for continuing to have the antics so he can get traded. I hope he does. I hope he does get traded. But until then, just don't leave your guys hanging, man. Don't abandon them.
I just want to say, as someone who's missed a handful of flights in my life, we don't know that this was antics. We don't know that this was intentional.
That's true.
He might have hit
Was he
hit
just slinging
traffic.
big face coffee?
He might have
Maybe
been.
he had diarrhea
Yeah,
in the Uber on the way to the airport.
or like me.
It could have been any of us.
Maybe he mixed up the time of the flight in his head while he was at the airport and missed his flight while he was sitting at a Mexican restaurant in the airport.
Oh, no way.
That's impressive. That
Is
is
this a recent story or is this a...
No, that was quite a while ago. Or he fell asleep watching a movie for a very early flight and fell asleep. I literally fell asleep at the gate. I was feet away from the gate agent. They didn't wake me up for the flight.
That's
You
just
didn't wake up when people were walking past you? This must have been one boring movie.
It's impressive, honestly.
Yeah, I
really
was
truly must have been real tired.
sleeping deep. So
Yeah,
I'm still here for you, Jimmy.
You are right, and I'll always love Jimmy. Think like if the team suspended him, he probably did not have a good reason.
The timing is ridiculously suspicious. Like I'm joking here. Still love Jimmy though.
it's a paint job at this point.
It's so painful, man. I'm like, we got to find a landing spot. But if he's like hell-bent on going to the Suns, I don't know how it happens. I really don't.
Go to Memphis, man. Go to Memphis.
I don't get why he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, he's like, no.
It's a perfect spot for him.
I don't know.
I just want to remind everyone that I have the Heat this week. So let's talk.
Perfect. Yeah. Let's post everything.
I have the Grizzlies, I think.
I
will be
forgot already.
performing. I will be going after him anyway.
You have
care.
the Magic, Pat.
I do. That's all that matters. I don't care about my other teams. I have the Magic, and I'm going to make them better. Mark my words.
That's the right answer.
I think I had the Magic last year and the Jazz. So we may see some trades that I made last year again.
Anthony Simons, maybe.
I was literally just thinking about him.
Patrick, if you don't want to have the Magic and Jazz, maybe you could innovate on the format and you could trade someone like a first round
An entire team.
Hear me out.
I'm against
Magic
the rules.
and Jazz.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I love it. Well, we were close to being. I think this is gonna maybe be under an hour because our little intro I think took a little bit of time. So we'll see. It's been excellent hanging out with you guys. Dan, again, just great work. You deserve the pizza that Sarah's making right now.
I'm so hungry.
The hungriest I've ever been in my entire life.
Exactly. Can't skip lunch.
You can't, or dinner. I mean, you're eating dinner at 9:00 at night. What's this all about?
Some European stuff
man.
going
It's that
on.
European life.
Yeah.
Pizza,
yeah,
forgot.
Yeah.
That's where Dan is going next week, right, Dan? Europe?
Goblin Valley.
He's not going to Europe. It's like a
I
4-day trip.
am also going to be a peon as soon as we get off the pod.
Dan, oh, he laughed! He laughed!
Dan laughed.
European? I'm a peon? He's a peon? Oh, man.
How did that
excellent
one
joke.
get me? How did that
It
one?
was unexpected.
Go tell Sarah immediately.
Probably.
All right, boys. Love you
See
all.
you at 12:01.
Have a happy trade week.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Peace.